And so we're going to touch on 5 major things that it takes to flip a home. And the first one is money. I think that's the most obvious thing. Starting a company, a business in any single field, it's going to require money. The number one way to start flipping a home is hard money. What is hard money? Well, that is money that is not traditionally from a lending institution. There's different types, but for all intents and purposes, it's somebody who's willing to give you a loan without all of the crazy underwriting that a bank would do. And they generally hold the loan in house, meaning they're not selling it to the larger players like Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. So they're able to loan you money without doing or jumping through all the crazy hoops that a bank or a credit union might have to jump through. And it's generally easier to get. However, with that said, generally it comes with a higher interest rate and it's going to require more cash down. And unfortunately, it's going to cost more, meaning the points at closing when you acquire a property, and we touch on this sometimes in our videos, it's a lot more money. You're looking sometimes at 10 grand, and all of this depends on the market and it depends on the home and the cost of the home. So number one, money, and you need to find a good hard money lender to do that. Other aspect of this first point of money is also you need your own money, because most hard money lenders, most cash lenders, they are not going to give you 100% of the purchase price. And if they do, I would be weary of that, because sometimes you will find a project and you'll find a lender who will advertise that they'll pay 100% of your purchase price on the home that you found. And unfortunately, once it makes it through their underwriters, or if they require an appraisal and it falls short, you're going to be a week from closing and they're going to tell you, hey, we're sorry, but we can only lend 90% on this. And you're going to have to make a decision at that point or come up with the other 10%. And so what does that mean? Well, it means you need to have significant cash reserves. So really, truly, you're going to need 6 figures to get started. I would say, please have access to about $150,000. It doesn't have to be your own money. It can be on credit cards if you're willing to take the risk. Just know that the more you leverage yourself, you might not be able to pay your own bills, and you could very easily find yourself defaulting on credit cards or needing to declare bankruptcy. Things could go very, very bad for you. But to answer the question, you need access to $100,000 to $150,000 to work on a modest project, because you're going to have to pay all of the workers, you're going to have to buy all of the materials. There are, however, a number of hard money lenders that will be willing to finance your renovation. However, it does get added to the loan cost and they do charge interest on that. And most of them will require you to front the renovation cost first. And upon an inspection on their side, they will reimburse you. So it's generally done on a reimbursement system. So please, guys, if you're looking to get into this business, make sure that you have access to about 6 figures of capital, and make sure that you have enough reserves, please, guys, that you can pay your own bills. Because financing the flip and paying your workers and not having enough money to live your own life and buy groceries and gas and pay your own mortgage and maybe come up with repairs on your own house or pay your rent or whatever your situation is, it could lead to very bad things. So I don't advise anyone to get started in this business unless you have a little bit of capital to play with, that if you lost it, you would not be over leveraged. Second thing on what it takes to flip a house, you need workers. You need people to be able to do the work on your projects. And I cannot stress that enough, that you don't want to be the one doing your own renovations. Guys, there are enough crazy things that you're going to have to consider and manage during this process that if you're the one doing the renovation, it's not going to go well. And when you couple that with the fact that most hard money lenders have a very limited 12-month loan term, you're going to probably blow that. So, guys, find good workers, find people that are qualified, and trustworthy. It's really the lifeblood of the business. And so it's so important that you have qualified people who know construction and know how to get things done and get them done timely, because markets can change as well. And if you're 9 months in and you're doing it a little at a time, and you're working a 9 to 5 and you're working on your flip on the weekends, and you're 9 months in and the market takes a nosedive, well, that's not going to help you either, because the market can change so fast that that ARV you calculated in the beginning, it might significantly drop by the time you finish if you take too long. Working on it on your own is a fast way to get it done slowly, actually. No pun intended there. Okay, what's next? Need to be able to find the right house. Now, this is something that we're not going to cover in detail on this video. This video is more of an overview. We're just going to kind of dip our toes into all of these little points here. But you need to be able to find a good project. Now, you can do that through networking with other realtors. A lot of realtors, they find deals all the time and they have a network of investors that they'll shop it to. So guys, you don't need any of that. Just look on the MLS, and there are so many deals out there, generally speaking, in major cities. Again, it's hard to get into the weeds on all of these points because this video will be 2 hours long, and we will definitely do a full video on how to find a good project and what a good buy box would be, and kind of the do's and don'ts of what you want to be looking for. But finding the right house in the right area at the right price is one of the most important skills of learning to flip a home. Because if you overinvest in the beginning, and we've been guilty of that, then you're going to have very small or no profit margins in the end. And what you've essentially done is you've renovated someone else's home for them for free or at cost. And as generous of a person as I am, I don't want to be doing that. I want my work to carry a premium and make money on it. That's the whole point of the business. So that brings me to number 4, and that is you're going to need a design. And we talk about this all the time. In fact, that is the core model of our business. That is our little niche that we've carved out for ourselves in this business, is our designs. And we take pride in that. And I'm not talking about fancy tiles. I'm not talking about nice flooring or landscaping or that sort of thing. I'm talking about floor plans. And so not only do you want to, like, obviously update the house inside, but just throwing a new coat of paint on your project and then adding $250,000 to the resale after 3 months or 1 month, as I've seen some other flippers do, it's not gonna get you very far. And buyers are smart. We get this question all the time. Hey, I saw you just listed a project. You bought it in December and you're on the market in March. And it's you bought it for 700,000. You're selling it for 950. What can you tell me about it? And if you can't answer that question, guys, for that realtor who's calling on behalf of their buyer, and you can't give them a $250,000 answer, they're not going to be interested in your project beyond that. So my number 4 item on this list of what does it take to start flipping a home and how do you get started in this business is you need to be able to look at a home and you need to be able to see what about that home is bad and what you can do to make it better and add value to it. And all of that fits under the umbrella of design. And a great way to actually get started learning design, obviously, aside from just watching our other videos, is just look at what other realtors did. So if you're on the market, so if you're looking for a flip and you see a fully renovated home on the market, take a look at the photos. Take a look at what did it used to look like and what does it look like now, and compare and see what did they do inside. And you can go through the histories. If you're not a realtor, I highly suggest getting your real estate license, guys. It opens a ton of doors for you. And we're going to get into that in a second. Um, just have a friend who's a realtor send you the old listing photos on that, and look at what they did and learn from that and see how it does. Does it go pending quickly? Does it sit on the market for a very long time? Um, and then see what it sells for. Did they get what they were asking? Did they have to do price cuts, et cetera, et cetera? I think you guys kind of get the point here. Again, you could also watch our videos, but you don't have to, because all of this information is already out there in your local markets. There, I promise you, there is a whole community of people flipping homes. Now, lastly, and there's probably 10 other little things I could get into on this, but one of the biggest things that it's going to take when you're flipping a home is the sale, okay? Because you can have, again, all the money in the world to get started. You can, have all the people in the world to do the work for you. You can have the perfect project and you can design it perfectly, but how are you going to sell it? How are you going to market it? Who's going to list the property for you? Or are you going to do it yourself and sell it by owner, or sell it as a licensed real estate professional, which again, I think is so important. So, touching on that, I would highly advise you guys become a realtor, become your own realtor. It makes purchasing so much easier, but more importantly, it makes selling the project so much easier, because you're going to save a lot of money not having to pay 1% or 2% or 3% really to another brokerage that would take your listing on them, that would put your listing on the market. But in addition to that, you also need to be able to calculate the right sale price. So just having the ability to list the home is one thing, but you have to know what it's worth. And you kind of have to know what it's worth ahead of time. Because if you're not able to make an accurate prediction on your ARV or your after repair values, then you're probably going to lose money. So for instance, if you buy a $500,000 house and you predict it can sell for 700,000, you definitely don't want to have a break even of 700,000. So you need to make sure you're budgeting properly, you're renovating properly, and that number you calculated is accurate. So guys, number 1, money. Number 2, good workers to do the projects for you. Number 3, you need to find the right project and be patient. Number 4, design it properly. Don't be afraid to make a nice layout for somebody in addition to a beautiful home. And number 5, you have to be able to market and sell the house and calculate the right value for the house. Because if you price it wrong, it's going to sit. You're going to have to, you're going to end up paying more to your lender in interest because you're going to be holding the loan longer, and a number of other things that could go south. And you end up cutting the price. There is so many things that can happen if you don't calculate the right ARVs. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Again, these are just the basics. I could talk about all this for hours. We will probably elaborate on some of these points in more detail, because the rabbit hole on some of these items goes really deep and there's so much information to know that's so important. But if you just want a starting point or an overview of what it takes, these are the 5 things. I'd say honorary mention number 6 is a high tolerance for stress, because that is a whole other issue in and of itself that you have to manage. Probably, again, another topic for a great video on how to do that. I'm certainly not very good at it, but I have a little experience, sadly, in managing it that I've learned. So thank you all for watching. Please, if you like this content, we're going to bring you more. Like and subscribe to this channel. Again, we don't make any money doing this. We're just putting it out there just to help people who want to get started in this business, because I love doing it, and I know there's other people out there who do too and want to get started. Thank you.